Yugiki jumped in the air and performed a double hand sign. A demonic face appeared, twisted in malice and pain. Hell Valley's profound ranked martial art, demonic face seal. Jin Suifeng shouted, "This martial art is focused on striking at one's soul. It is undefendable. Even radiant stage cultivators will find it hard to cope with such an attack. The lightest injury is dizziness, while the worst would be death." His words traveled to Zhuo Fan's ears as a clear warning. Yugiki noticed this but laughed instead. "Damn runt, if you dodge, the demonic face seal will kill the girl. If you try to take her, you won't make it. Big brother Zhuo, forget about me and leave. I can die in peace knowing you will save my family." Xuaningsheng urged. Zhuo Fan looked back with a smile, then spoke coldly at Yugiki, "As she is mine. As long as I'm here, you can't harm her." "Deniwi ki yuhu, ah." Yugiki pointed and the demonic face wailed on its way towards Zhuo Fan. Xuaningsheng was nervous and was about to jump in front, but Zhuo Fan stopped her with his wing. Boom! The demonic face smashed on Zhuo Fan and thousands of gray tendrils of energy wrapped around him. The cries of lamentation, similar to that of a being starved for centuries and finally finding food, were heard all around. Xie Tianyang turned towards Jin Suifeng in anxiety, but the latter only sighed. Even a profound heaven expert was powerless in the face of such an attack, least of all a bone-tempering cultivator. Xuaningsheng couldn't hold back her tears. Demrun, lustislandia yordum fai. A demonic cultivator should be ruthless, yet you let emotion cloud your judgment and make you weak. Yugiki cackled as he turned to Xuaningsheng. "Wench, his death is on you." Xuaningsheng watched Zhuo Fan become gray and her cries became heartrending. If not for saving her, he could have lived. "Big brother Zhuo, forgive me, it's all my fault." Xuaningsheng sobbed. "Ha ha ha, foolish girl, don't let that old goat see you cry. You're only bringing him satisfaction." Suddenly, Zhuo Fan's voice came from within the ball of gray tendrils. The crowd was shocked. Wasn't Zhuo Fan reeked with pain inside there? How is he so calm? Yugiki cried in fear. "This isn't possible. His soul should have been swallowed whole." "Ha ha ha, you want to kill me with a parlor trick? Aren't you a tad bit naive, insidious demon?" An azure flame flashed from within the gray tendrils. The gray energy retreated every time the flame moved. As the gray energy withdrew, Zhuo Fan was soon revealed before the crowd with an azure light coming from his forehead. Zhuo Fan muttered, "Demon transformation art." Suddenly, the gray energy wailed as they were devoured by the azure flame. And Zhuo Fan felt his soul growing stronger as a result. Demon transformation art was originally used to absorb everything to promote one's cultivation. The reason he couldn't absorb souls so far was because his own wasn't strong enough. It would only be a detriment if the result would have harmed him instead. But since he refined his soul, it grew in power akin to radiant stage cultivator's level. And having the strange azure flame as a protector, this measly amount of vengeful ghosts were nothing more than a snack after the flame removed the waste. "I'm Yugiki in the air," Zhuo Fan mocked. "Is that it? If you have no trick up your sleeve, guess I'll have to get serious." "Get serious? Hehehe, stop showing off. Are you saying you've been playing around all this time?" Yugiki was both angry and startled. Startled that Zhuo Fan could dismiss such a strong attack and angry from his contempt. But that was how Zhuo Fan treated him, with naked contempt. Wasn't he insidious demon of Hell Valley, their #1 sage? Despite all that, fear grew inside him. This was a foreign feeling to him since he always grasped his opponent's weakness before striking them down. But when he looked at Zhuo Fan, he only felt powerless despite everything he threw at the kid. Furthermore, he had a nagging feeling that all his moves were within Zhuo Fan's calculations. Zhuo Fan played him like a fiddle, leaving him without a shred of dignity. This fear he had was the worst he ever felt. Chuckling, Zhuo Fan mocked again. "Seventh Elder, I wonder, do you remember what you told me a few months back in the All-Beast Mountain Range? Against true power, all schemes are moot." Yugiki's eyes dilated, his heart sped up, and a bad feeling crept its way down his spine. "Today, I throw this line right back at you." Grinning, Zhuo Fan pointed at the sky. "In just one move, I will have your head." "Bullshit." Yugiki could no longer take it and snapped. He now realized Zhuo Fan's end goal this time was revenge against him while he was only saving Xuaningsheng in passing. From the moment Zhuo Fan showed up, he smacked the old man's face at every corner to show him how useless his insidious demon moniker was before true power. "My intelligence is laughable when it comes face to face with raw power. My cunningness falls short to his." Zhuo Fan wanted to crush his pride as an insidious person, to die in pain. What a dreadful kid, far worse than even Yugiki. Jin Suifeng felt overwhelmed with shock. He is even more terrifying than Zhuge Changfeng. This thought helped Jin Suifeng understand Zhuo Fan's actions so far. It is unknown if he will one day be friend or foe. Observing him now is for the best. Ignoring the gazes around him, Zhuo Fan stared down Yugiki with delight in his eyes. Perhaps all demonic cultivators were at their happiest in the throes of slaughter. Zhuo Fan laughed. Yugiki, ready? It's time you see what real power looks like. He jumped the next moment. Bam! He shot for Yugiki like a rocket. Yugiki attacked with his yin-yang chains. But with a flap of his wings, Zhuo Fan slipped right past them. Yin-yang chains couldn't even touch him and he was already punching at Yugiki. Ah, gotihu. Yugiki laughed and a black and white chain flew at Zhuo Fan's chest. But Zhuo Fan only said, "Oh, so you had another set of chains besides those two. But so what? With my power, all your plans are moot, including all you've hidden so far." Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed and a golden light flew from his body. It was the blood infant after being refined with diamond sand. The blood infant, which was comparable to a 5th-grade demonic treasure, charged at the black and white chain. The chains couldn't last even a second as blood infant tore through it along with Yugiki's arm. Yugiki was shocked to find that the golden light, which passed by his ear, had taken away not only the chain but also his arm. He only now woke up to the validity of Zhuo Fan's previous words, so much so that blood infant's power scared Yugiki. He had no time to feel the loss of his arm when Zhuo Fan's punch was right at his face. Damn runt, you think you can kill me in one move? He knew his death was sealed, but he wasn't about to let Zhuo Fan determine how he died. Or he really would never rest in the afterlife. The only reason he still fought was for his honor. Whoosh! RD-grade demonic treasure twisted needle flew from his sleeve towards Zhuo Fan's fist. As long as he stopped the fist, he wouldn't die in one blow. Such was the glorious mind of the #1 sage in Hell Valley reduced to after fighting with an equally insidious demon. Zhuo Fan was here to make sure he would be left without a scrap of honor. The punch still moved without hesitation, meeting with the twisted needle, to the joy and hope of Yugiki. But the crisp sound that resulted from the contact revealed that the twisted needle broke in two. The fist was unaffected in the slightest as it bore into Yugiki's chest. Yugiki watched in horror and muttered, What kind of damn monster are you? Humph, I don't mind telling you. My body is as strong as a 5th-grade demonic treasure. Yours was only a 3rd-grade demonic treasure. And as for why I'm such a freak. Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed as he recalled the endless anguish and torment he had to live through. Isn't it all your fault? Roaring, Zhuo Fan threw his fist and flung Yugiki into the ground, smashing a few buildings. Blood flew from Yugiki's mouth as he watched Zhuo Fan in the air with shock and loss. How does your freakish change have anything to do with me? With this final thought, Yugiki's head sagged and breathed his last. His eyes were wide open, never to find peace. Zhuo Fan spread his wings among the clouds and hovered like a god towering above the ants. In his hand he was clutching a still-beating heart which was dripping blood. But the owner of this heart had long met his end and was no more than a stiff corpse, never again able to find peace from the horrors he endured. The onlookers raised their heads in shock, but witnessing the majesty of Zhuo Fan, they even forgot to breathe. Fear was almost palpable among the Hell Valley's guards. In just a single blow, the notorious insidious demon, the #1 sage of Hell Valley, Yugiki died. Xie Tianyang was in denial of what he witnessed. Even Jian Suifeng was swept by fear as he gazed upon the youth hovering in the sky. A true monster. Jian Suifeng muttered. Zhuo Fan simply relaxed his grip and the heart dropped down to the ground with a splat. But this casual action seized everyone's hearts. As Zhuo Fan's cold stare roamed among the people, they lowered their heads in fear, horrified that the demon would set his gaze on them. Zhuo Fan, however, only laughed. That guy must have run off to his house. He actually slipped away again. He suddenly swooped down, alarming the people into scattering. But he went by Xuaningxiang and held her. Xuaningxiang let out a short cry before being carried into the clouds. They both then disappeared in a lightning flash. In a clearing outside Blue Expanse City, lightning sparked, revealing Xuaningxiang and Zhuo Fan landing. As he eased her onto the ground, she looked at him in puzzlement. Zhuo Fan had a faint smile. I said that I will take you out of the city, and I have. Now I have fulfilled my promise. Is this the outside world? Xuaningxiang darted her eyes around and breathed in, a smile playing on her lips. This is the first time I'm walking outside the city. I'm finally out. Xuaningxiang laughed and blushed. Thank you, big brother Shua. It's nothing. We shook on it, didn't we? Zhuo Fan said, Ninga, this might be the right time to say goodbye. The roots of this story extend from novel being origin. You're leaving. Xuaningxiang jerked her head up, her eyes fixed on Zhuo Fan. Where to? He sighed as he said, I don't know. There are still so many things I need to do. The most pressing matters were finding the Lightning Canyon, Heavenly Emperor's remnant, and searching for experts to strengthen the Luo clan. Despite having no clue where to start on any of them, he had to keep looking. Xuaningxiang saw his mind was set and spoke softly, a big brother Zhua, can I come with you? No. Zhua Fan denied, with your strength, you will be in too much danger. Xuaningxiang lowered her head in defeat. She knew she'd be just a burden to him if she went. Zhua Fan tousled her head with a smile, and you still have your clan to look after. Shui clan offended Hell Valley and needs to find someone that can protect it. The Sword Marquis' abode is a good choice. From Xie Tianyang's sharp mouth, he must be quite high-placed. If he vouches for you, Sword Marquis' abode is sure to take you in. Xuaningxiang raised her head then nodded. Now was the time to look for a safe place for her clan. It would be too cruel of her and selfish to go with Zhua Fan and leave her father and brothers in danger. She was embarrassed but still felt reluctant to part with him. Bia, l'assiste. Zhua Fan ruffled her head one last time and left with a smile. Tears formed in Xuaningxiang's eyes as she shouted, Big brother Zhua, when will we see each other again? When the thunder ring flashes. Zhua Fan waved as he walked away, the thunder ring on his and Xuaningxiang's fingers flashing. In another area, Jian Suifeng was looking down on Yugiki's corpse, the enemy who robbed him of his 3 fingers. He recalled Yugiki's wretched death and his mood livened. Oh Yugiki, what a tragedy befell you, one of the great men of Tianyu Empire. Jian Suifeng found that the Hell Valley guards Zhua Fan routed were now scrambling away from this place, abandoning even their elder's body. Only a cold wind blew over the white hairs on Yugiki's body, which was lying there on the cold and hard rubble. His eyes were wide, despite losing their light. Xie Tianyang was still looking at the sky in Zhua Fan's direction, but then spoke in a sour tone, Damn bastard, good for you killing Yugiki, but what are you playing at taking Ningyo? Tianyang helped the others down, we'll rush to Sword Marquis' abode to heal them. The Shui clan will become Sword Marquis' abode's vassal clan. Jian Suifeng indicated towards the crucified Shui clansman. Xie Tianyang jumped and smiled, that's my intention. It's elder who knew we thought alike. I was also going to save Ningyo's clan. Humph, who is like-minded with a brat? Jian Suifeng snorted, you've seen what that little monster is capable of. Only time will tell how far his strength will reach. Since he went out of his way to save these people, it won't hurt to earn his favor. We might even become friends in the future. And in case we stand on opposite sides, we can use these people as hostages to deal with him. Xie Tianyang only smiled wryly at his elder's reasoning. Humph, so you're not saving Shui clan because of me but because of that prick Zhua Fan. Just who is a Sword Marquis' abode's core disciple here anyway? If this gets out, my name will be dragged through the mud. Although secretly cursing, he still went to work. Since this was his aim all along, to help Xuaningxiang. Yet none was the wiser as half a mile out, Yu Ming was curled up in shivers. His fear of Zhua Fan grew out of proportion, to such a scale that he might never overcome this heart demon. Bastard, this is the 3rd time. What did I ever do to you? Everywhere I go, you come killing. Last time you killed 2 elders and this time you killed my master. Abomination? Yu Ming cursed Zhua Fan to high heavens. But when Zhua Fan's cold face resurfaced in his mind, shivers reeked his body. A month later, in the Emperor's gardens of the imperial capital, 2 old men were playing chess beneath a pavilion. One of them was dressed in a golden gown and had white temples and cloudy eyes. He was the Emperor of Tianyu Empire. The other elderly had a long beard, white hair, and exuded an imposing aura. Whenever a guard looked his way, their eyes were filled with respect. Among the melodious chirping of the garden birds, the chess pieces being moved made for a calming rhythm. Suddenly, a wail broke the blissful peace. Lord Father, something big just happened. In a lone valley sieged by mountains on 3 sides and a narrow trail on the 4th, the sun's warm glow barely reached this place throughout the year. Being shrouded in mist, this place was a cesspool of poisonous insects and rats. Yet this particularly strange environment led to the development of some of the rarest herbs the world had ever seen. To gather such ingredients, men braved many dangers through the valley, where the mortality rate was incredibly high and the ghosts of the fallen exacerbated the gloom. People came to call it Hell Valley. 1,000 years ago, a powerful group stumbled upon this place and established a foothold. They even set up a 5th grade array to safeguard from the gruesomeness of this valley. This group was the Yu House, one of the 7 noble houses of Tianyu Empire. With time, people came to call this valley as the strongest house that could oppose the imperial family. Until now. In Hell Valley's meeting hall, Valley Lord Yuanshan was in a poor mood as he sat on his throne. Out of the 12 total seats, 9 seats were occupied by elders. Each time he glanced at the empty seats, his eyes turned savage. "You Ming!" Yuanshan bellowed, "Do you mean to say that 3 of Hell Valley's elders are dead because of a single kid?" Kowtowing on the ground and shivering uncontrollably, Yu Ming replied, "I wouldn't even think of lying to Valley Lord. Elder Jin, Elder Yun, as well as my master, 7th Elder, were indeed killed by Luo clan steward, Zhuo Fan." "Useless wench." Yuanshan slapped the table. "You knew he killed 2 elders before, so why didn't you report this sooner?" "Spare me, Valley Lord. It was my master who forbade me. Master found it too weird and ordered me to keep it to myself. He told me that he will find the opportunity to deal with Zhuo Fan. But before he could, Zhuo Fan broke into our city and..." At this point, Yu Ming's voice was choked with sobs. The rest of the elders snorted. All demonic cultivators are cruel and cold, so why is this punk getting so worked up? Throwing such a show would make them despise him instead. The elders were all clear this wasn't his fault, yet refrained from pardoning him. If they'd trade places, they would do the same. If not, they'd be accused of rash thinking, and that would be used as an excuse by some others to remove them. Who would believe that a fresh bone tempering kit could kill a profound heaven-seasoned expert if not for it happening before countless eyes? Valley Lord Yu Ming might have erred, but he had no control over what happened. "Our first priority is to deal with the aftermath." This was spoken by the first elder on the right as he stood up. "Tianyu Empire's mighty clans have set their sights on us. If we let that kid go unpunished, what will the people think? We will become the laughingstock of the empire, and our vassal clans will abandon us." Yuanshan frowned, his eyes filled with cruelty. "Grand Elder is right. We cannot let that punk get away with this. Wasn't he some steward of Luo clan? We'll make the Luo clan answer for his transgression." "Valley Lord, you mustn't." A deep and worried voice traveled from an old man with raven hair, seated on the opposite side of Grand Elder. Yuanshan snorted. "Second Elder, what are you trying to say? Do you think it's alright for someone to kill our people, shame us, and then walk away? What will others think of Hell Valley?" "Valley Lord, I am not stopping you from settling this debt. Only..." Second Elder muttered something before resuming. "The Valley Lord should remember the ban the Emperor enacted a year ago on the 7 houses, which was against stepping foot in Wengay City. If we breach it openly, it will give the imperial family the excuse to strike." Second Elder makes a fair point. This is not the time to move in the open. And there are also reports that the Imperial Family and Veiled Dragon Pavilion's experts are patrolling nearby Wengay City. We will fall into their trap if we go. Grand Elder urged. Eyeing the 2 most respected elders, Yuanshan hesitated for a while before spatting through gritted teeth. "We can't do this. We can't do that. What else can we actually do?" Even the elders turned silent. Yuanshan sighed. "This wouldn't have been such a headache if the 7th Elder was here. Blasted punk, he managed to rob me of my wisest advisor. When I get my hands on you, I will skin you alive." Seeing them all pensive, the kneeling Yu Ming darted his eyes left and right before making a tentative remark. "Valley Lord, may disciple be so bold as to convey a solution?" "Humph, the elders' meeting is not something you can join. Get the hell out." Yuanshan barked without even looking at Yu Ming. But Grand Elder's gesture detained him. "Valley Lord, the kid can be considered as 7th Elder's successor. Why not give him a chance?" Yuanshan conceded when he heard the Grand Elder's reason. Yu Ming's heart burst with joy as he rushed to explain. "Valley Lord, this disciple's humble opinion is to ignore the Luo clan. From my observation, Luo clan is relying on Zhuo Fan. With him around, even if we remove the Luo clan, it will only make it worse for us. But if Zhuo Fan is out of the picture, then the Luo clan will fall from grace. They will have no hope of replacing us, Hell Valley." Yuanshan's eyes flickered. "Go on." "Yes." His mouth twisted in a smile, Yu Ming said, "We cannot approach Wengay City, but Zhuo Fan is nowhere near it either. We just need to focus all our efforts in dealing with him." "And how will we find him?" Yuanshan questioned. "Issue the Hellkill order and have the Empire corner him." Yu Ming revealed his savage side. "We will then know where he is going, and before he returns to Wengay City, we can just ambush him." Yuanshan cackled. "Good, that's what we'll do. Men." He then shouted orders. "In my name as Hell Valley's leader, I declare the Hellkill order on Zhuo Fan. Anyone who provides clues to his location can become a vassal to Hell Valley. Anyone who brings me his head will become Hell Valley's #1 vassal, ruling above all others." Yuanshan's sinister laughter echoed, to which Yu Ming followed up with a vile smile. "Zhuo Fan, you abomination. I won't dare face you, but now you have the whole empire after your head. Hee hee hee. Grand Elder smiled, as I thought, this kid is still thinking about revenge. But the Elder didn't care since Juefan was the enemy of Hell Valley. Grand Elder stated, Valley Lord, even if we declare Hell Kill Order on Juefan, since he killed 7th Elder, the weak clans won't be his match. I think we will have to act if we want to end him after all. Then all elders move out, kill that bastard. Wait. Grand Elder gestured, he killed 7th Elder, elders below 7th won't be of any help. From Minger's retelling of him, he must be a body-refining demonic cultivator. The only ones who can stand up to him are the first 5 elders. Furthermore, he turned to a red-haired elder, 5th Elder, you refine your body with the scorching demon flame. Your unbreakable body is the perfect match for that kid. Don't look at me. Yet the man in question shook his hands again and again while smirking. I am about to join Drifting Flowers Edifice's 100-pill meeting. I don't have the time to run around after some snot-nosed brat. Humph, what's so great being invited by women to a meeting to discuss about pills? Is going there more important than taking revenge for the house? Yuan-chan snapped. Grand Elder lightened the atmosphere with a smile. Valley Lord, the Drifting Flowers Edifice may be made up of women, but they are still one of the 7 houses. Establishing a close relationship will only work in our favor. They extended an invitation to 5th Elder since they took an interest in his fire attribute cultivation method in hope of refining new pills. Humph, how did a bunch of skinks climb up to our position? One day I will personally go and take over their domain. Yuan-chan said viciously. Grand Elder shook his head. Valley Lord, I would like to have Yu Ming participate in 7th Elder's place in our future Elder meetings. Staring at Yu Ming, Yuan-chan nodded. Fine, raise him well as the next insidious demon, ha ha ha. Yu Ming was overjoyed in his bowing. Meanwhile, in Blackwind Mountain, Captain Pang was cultivating by sitting on 36 blades. His body was riddled with scars. While cultivating, black tendrils of energy would leave his body, drift around the blades, and return back to him. But as each black tendril went back into his body, a new bloody scar adorned his weak body, making him frown. Suddenly, a shadow grew before him and Lei Yuding came from behind. Cracking his eyelids, Captain Pang stood up with a smirk. Miss Lei's elusive shadow art is becoming more and more outstanding. I didn't even notice you were coming. Humph, your wraith art isn't any less impressive, reaching bone-tempering stage in just a year. You're making those clan's geniuses jealous. Hehehe, it's all because of Brother Zhua. Captain Pang laughed and peeked next to him. Not 5 meters from him, a 15-year-old was braving above other blades as sweat marred his brow and trailed along his scarred body. But around him were corpses riddled with wounds as if hacked by countless edged weapons. Damn it, what kind of vile method are you cultivating? Lei Yuting kursit. Captain Pang replied with indifference. Of the 20 kids you sent, only 1 barely made it. Send me another batch. With just 1 survivor you want more? Lei Yuding raised her voice in shock. Captain Pang smirked. That's actually quite a good result. 450 to die while training in this art is normal. But for Luo clan, everything is worth it. Humph, you are hard at cultivating, and what is that brother of yours doing? Snorting, Lei Yuding fetched a paper. He killed Hell Valley's 7th Elder and they've issued a kill order. What? Captain Pang burst into laughter. Brother Zhua truly does incredible things, shaking the world everywhere he goes. Then he patted Lei Yuding's shoulder. Miss Lei, don't be too worried. With Brother Zhua's skills, Hell Valley's order won't affect him. Humph, who the hell cares about him? Lei Yuding muttered through gnashed teeth. He just went and provoked Hell Valley over a girl. Since when was he so goody-goody? Captain Pang grinned. So that's what it was, ha ha ha. Sometimes, Brother Zhua quite likes striking a heroic figure. Hero? My ass. You think I don't know him? Sighing, Lei Yuding turned into a shadow and vanished. Captain Pang shouted the next moment. Don't mention this to young miss, especially the last part. But Lei Yuding's response didn't come. Captain Pang sighed. Ah, women. Achoo! Who's bad-mouthing me behind my back? In a secluded forest, Juefan scratched his nose and set his eyes on a 100-meter-tall rock. He suddenly flexed his legs and jumped, with the wings behind him flashing with lightning. Race-style first move, soaring demonic dragon. Roar! A black draconic image flashed with him at its center. The dragon intertwined with the lightning and smashed into the rock. Boom! The rock crumbled like a stack of cards and Juefan came out with a flash. Then he turned around and unleashed a black claw at the rubble. Race-style second move, ghostly dragon claw. It was lackluster compared to the previous thundering explosion, but it made up for it with visual impact, turning the rubble to sand. The tremors even frightened the birds away. Zhuo Fan gasped as he continued sweating, but his hands kept dancing through gestures, aiming for the flock of birds. Wraith-style third move, Necro Dragon Screech. Roar! The sound was eerie, akin to a demon. Zhuo Fan's wail even made ripples through the air as it swept the flock of birds. The birds froze midair, their eyes blanked and fell dead. One look would spot thousands of dead birds. Zhuo Fan was now reduced to a gasping mess, crouching down with a downcast look. This low profound ranked martial art matched the Wraith art. Each strike held enough power to shake the earth and kill instantly. Although ranked low, it was nonetheless strong as a mid-profound ranked martial art. The problem was the high requirement these moves had on the body, making it viable only to Wraith art cultivators. But with Zhuo Fan's refined body, he long surpassed it. In theory, these moves should have been easy for him to execute. Yet the fact remained, only after training in them for a month did he realize that he didn't lack in the body department, but in the soul. He was in the first layer of bone tempering stage, and using profound ranked martial art almost exhausted his yuan qi. The last move, in particular, Necro Dragon Screech, was a soul attack that could only be trained when one was in the radiant stage. With his body and soul refined, his soul power shot up, and even with the added benefit of the azure flame, he just barely succeeded. But it didn't stop him from feeling his vision swoon and collapse. Goddammit. These moves will be the death of me. If I don't kill my enemy with these, he will kill me. Zhuo Fan sighed and sat cross-legged to recover his yuan qi. Killing Yugiki stirred up a hornet nest. He was bound to stumble on a far stronger opponent and needed to protect himself by training powerful martial arts. As a consequence, he hid for over a month in the mountains to practice, yet the outcome wasn't in the least bit reassuring. Half a day later, Zhuo Fan stood up with a rosy complexion, having recovered. His hand flashed and was now holding a large egg. He looked at the singed marks on the egg with worry. The Thunder Skylark egg was still alive thanks to its mother's spiritual energy. But this only put a delay on things. If he wanted to hatch it, he'd first have to restore its vitality. Just where am I supposed to look for the needed spiritual herbs in this vast world? The egg wasn't fully developed yet, and common herbs wouldn't do any good. He'd need those rare treasures capable of snatching a man's life from the jaws of imminent death. Zhuo Fan couldn't help but frown at this thought. Song Yu, hand over the body tempering pill if you know what's good for you. A sudden shout interrupted Zhuo Fan's musings. His face darkened and walked over. Who's the bastard that dares disturb my peace? Pushing a branch aside, Zhuo Fan saw a man and a woman driving a carriage. The man was around 20 with fine features and at first layer of bone tempering stage cultivation, while the woman was of similar age, charming complexion, and in the second layer. They were surrounded by 6 men, of who 5 were in the 8-9th layer of bone tempering stage, and the last one, an old man, was in the 6th. The pair was now staring daggers at the old man. Humph, the body tempering pill was made by us, the Song clan, through a secret formula to join in the 100-pill meeting. You think I'm just going to give it away? The man snorted and a first-grade spiritual weapon appeared in his hand. Zhuo Fan smiled in derision. The body tempering pill was a 4th-grade pill, useful in tempering one's bones and also useful in aiding a 9th-layer qi condensation cultivator in breaking through to the bone tempering stage. The only downside was that it could only be used once. For the genius Zhuo Fan, who was worry-free about breaking through to bone tempering stage, this pill was garbage. And this crappy pill was made from a secret formula. What a bunch of weaklings. But the bloodshot-eyed old man thought otherwise. Ha ha ha, Song Yu, Song Qian, aren't the two of you in the bone tempering stage at such a young age thanks to it? Your third-rate clan, which sees the secret formula for a 4th-grade pill, is being too greedy. It's best if you just hand it over. Humph, we would rather die. Song Qian and Song Yu charged at the old man, who did the same. Bam! From just a single palm attack, both of them drew wide arcs in the air trailed by their blood. Despite being in the same stage, the difference of 5 to 6 layers wasn't something they could overcome. Hee, Miss Song Qian, is this necessary? Be good and hand the pill in its formula. Are you going to force this old man into patting down the both of you? The old man eyed Song Qian's enticing curves and let out lascivious laughter. Song Qian glared with hatred but then sighed and looked at her brother. Or are you scared? I am not. Song Yu steeled himself. Then let us die together. At least the clan's formula won't land in that old bastard's hands. Song Qian made a downcast smile and raised Song Yu's spiritual weapon to their necks. This scene stirred Zhuo Fan's heart, his mind drifting to the siblings in the Wenge city. They would have had the same ending if I wasn't compelled by the heart demon at that time. Sighing, Zhuofan shot a leaf at the pair. Whoosh! Just when it was about to slit their throats, the weapon fell off her hands. Who's there? Both the siblings and the old man shouted anxiously. Is it really necessary to kill them over a fourth-grade pill? Zhuofan stepped out of the tree line. The old man laughed. Here I was nervous who might come, and it's only a brat fresh into the bone-tempering stage. He mocked Zhuofan. Kid, aren't you a demonic cultivator? Everyone knows demonic cultivators are the most savage and ruthless bunch out there, and you have the cheek to preach me a mercy. I'm not preaching mercy, but power. Zhuofan sneered. Now that I have witnessed this matter, you can't kill them. Humph, with just you? The old man's eyes glinted with malice as Songqian shouted anxiously, little brother, run. Save yourself and forget about us. Run? Too late. While Songqian was urging him, the old man charged at Zhuofan with a snicker. A kid, you only got yourself to blame for poking your nose where it does not belong. The siblings could only close their eyes to be spared of the horror. Yet with the crisp sound, Zhuofan stood unfazed while the old man fell in a pool of blood, headless. The laughing old man was dead in an instant, and despite the others having smiles on their faces, their eyes were filled with terror. They clearly saw how Zhuofan made a casual attack and popped the old man's head. Monster! A scream echoed and the others ran for their lives. Zhuofan didn't care about them and turned to leave. Wait! Songqian called. Her eyes were in shock of Zhuofan's immense strength despite similar cultivation levels. It was as different as heaven and earth. What is it? Zhuofan asked as he turned slowly. He noticed the elegant beauty, yet he didn't bat an eyelid. Songqian was the one to be affected by his gaze instead, blushing and lowering her head. I have yet to know little brother's name. One day the Song clan will repay you for saving our lives. No need. Saying so, Zhuofan started leaving. Startled, Songqian felt somewhat discouraged in her heart. All males in 100 miles of Song clan would be speechless in her presence, yet Zhuofan gave her the cold shoulder. This led to the rising discontent inside her. She skipped before Zhuofan and stopped him by raising her hand. But he just frowned. Is there anything else? This fool. Songqian was cursing inside but showed an enticing smile on the outside. Little brother, where are you planning on going? None of your business. Zhuofan bypassed her with a snort. Songqian's mouth was twitching as she shouted, we are on our way to 100 pill meeting. Why not join us? Zhuofan paused, then turned. Drifting Flower City, the home of Drifting Flowers Edifice, one of the 7 noble houses? Exactly. Nodded Songyu as he rushed over. Drifting Flowers Edifice holds the 100 pill meeting once a decade. It is a gathering where famous alchemists from clans around the empire compete over their refining method. If luck would have it, the Drifting Flowers Edifice would take notice of you and take you in as a vassal clan. Zhuofan scratched his nose. 100 pill meeting is bound to have plenty of rare ingredients, and the chance is high for me to find the treasures to restore the egg. He made a lopsided grin. Your words caught my interest. I would very much like to see the 100 pill meeting. Great. Let's go together. Songqian jumped in joy. Zhuofan smiled. Assuming another identity while entering one of the 7 houses isn't a bad idea. The Song siblings were glad he agreed. With Zhuofan's strength, nothing would stop them from reaching Drifting Flower City. Oh, what do I call little brother? Luofan. Zhuofan scratched his nose. He could no longer risk giving his real name, not since Blue Expanse City. He figured the entire Tianyu Empire was privy to his name by now. Then again, he was Luo clan steward, and using their name was perfectly normal. Songqian, Songyu. The two introduced. Zhuofan then followed the sister and entered the carriage, which had various ingredients strewn about, while the younger brother drove it. But Zhuofan didn't even spare these plain items a glance. Songqian kept making eyes with Zhuofan, but seeing her efforts hit a wall, she turned awkwardly to look out the window. But then she burst into a giggle with a red face. Seeing this, Zhuofan rolled his eyes. She either lost it or is smitten. I wouldn't have gone with them if I knew. Throughout the trip, Songqian treated him like a rare breed, eyeing him at every chance. He tried his hardest in switching places with Songyu, but the kid turned him down and he was forced to endure the doe eyes from Songyu's sister. After a long half a month, the carriage slowly approached the city's gates. Songyu laughed. Brother Luo, sister, we're here. About freaking time. Zhuofan stepped out in a rush from the red-hot gaze of the other passenger. But then he cursed when he noticed the gate. How in the hell is this Drifting Flower City? Why did you even stop here? The plaque above the gate read, Orchid City. This wasn't under any of the 7 houses' jurisdiction, but the imperial family. Brutalu, calm yourself. An old friend of my father stays here. We've come to Orchid City to buy ingredients from him before setting out to 100 Pill meeting. Hearing this, Zhuo Fan could only sigh. Will my suffering ever end? Song Qian stepped out and glared. Do you hate being around me? Zhuo Fan just shrugged. But Song Yu laughed and revealed a vulgar smile. Brother Luo, I know exactly how you feel. I am the same, itching to get to Drifting Flower City. They say the 15 overseers of Drifting Flowers edifice are like fairies, and the edifice lord an outstanding beauty, proclaimed as the #1 beauty in the empire. If I can see her once, my life is fulfilled. Song Yu wore an intoxicated look. It was as if he could really see them, but then he woke up and noticed his sister looking glum and disdained. But even my sister's beauty is hard to come by. Although, how could a man pick just one when the world is filled with ravishing beauties? Xiaoyu, what did you say? Song Qian heard him and her glare sent him shivering. Zhuo Fan just shook his head. They're a pair of clowns, one love-struck, the other a moron. I need to get far away from them or I'll find myself at their level soon. Qiania. Their conversation was interrupted when they heard a shout. Song Qian stiffened, knowing who the person was. It came from a finely clothed young man who looked casual and confident in his demeanor. He was around 20 years old and in the 4th layer of bone tempering stage. Song Qian, however, seemed not too eager in seeing him, giving an awkward greeting, Brother Tianlei. Song Yu also stiffened, whispering to Zhuo Fan, he is Qi Tianlei, Orchid City's top clan's young master. The Qi clan is an old friend of ours, but they are a second-rate clan and they always make a point to show it. Also, Qi Tianlei is crazy for my sister. Zhuo Fan sighed, already feeling regret following this pair. The Luo clan and Song clan were similar, but the former had the privilege of demonic emperor gracing them with his presence, elevating it to a first-rate clan. Similar people, different fates. Qianer, who's he? Even as Qi Tianlei was caressing Song Qian's fair hand, he was always watching the other two. But while his eyes were filled with contempt for Song Yu, it revealed only hostility towards Zhuo Fan. He is Brother Luo, our friend. Song Qian was fearful of Qi Tianlei, but even with a tremor in her voice, she tried to protect Zhuo Fan. She then rushed to change topics. Tianlei, how did you know we're coming today? I received Uncle Song's letter and estimated when you'd arrive. Qi Tianlei spoke casually, then marched before Zhuo Fan, pushing aside Song Qian, who blocked his way. Who are you to Qianer? Brother Qi, he is my friend. Bam! Qi Tianlei slapped Song Yu away. I wasn't asking you. He turned toward Zhuo Fan with a wild look. Speak, what is there between you two? Zhuo Fan saw Song Qian helping her brother. Looking at their terrified states, he knew they were oppressed by this young master of the Qi clan. On our way, we ate together and slept together. We practically never left the carriage. You tell me if there's anything between us. Song Qian was shocked, knowing he did it just despite Qi Tianlei. And Qi Tianlei's eyes were now bloodshot as he unleashed his power. Wretched filth, I will have your head. He declared as he threw himself at Zhuo Fan. But Zhuo Fan remained calm and unmoving. Then a sudden sound was heard and a ripple spread from Zhuo Fan's chest. Ice-cold killing intent swept everyone's minds, freezing them. They were scared as rabbits, powerless to even resist it. Qi Tianlei looked as if he was seeing a demon from hell, shivering all the while. As for his fury, it vanished into nothing. Killing with intent was a radiant stage expert's absolute power. Zhuo Fan was no radiant stage expert, but his soul was strong enough to train in the Wraith Style's Necro Dragon Screech. It was far from being able to kill with intent, but enough to scare. This was a feat not even a profound heaven expert was capable of, yet a freak of nature like Zhuo Fan could. Strolling before the shivering Qi Tianlei, Zhuo Fan whispered in his ear, the next time you try showing off before me, I will end you. Qi Tianlei hit the ground with a thud and couldn't stop sweating. While the Song siblings stood shell-shocked. He scared them into submission without lifting a finger. Just how was he a bone-tempering cultivator? Song Qian and Song Yu saw a whole new Zhuo Fan and their hearts started racing. Whoosh! Suddenly, a figure landed before Qi Tianlei. He checked the young master and became enraged finding him unconscious. Who did this? The newcomer whipped his head back and roared, his eyes flickering with flames of rage. But then he noticed Zhuo Fan and all of a sudden his anger diffused. Zhuo Fan frowned and took a much closer look at him. The man was around 40 years old, with a beard and at peak bone-tempering stage. From the fine clothes he was wearing, it was clear he was a clan head. Song Qian, who was roused from her shock by the shout, began apologizing with tears welling in her eyes. Forgive me, uncle, it's all my fault. Take it out on me. The man's eyes then noticed the Song siblings and his gloomy face cleared up with a laugh. Ah ha ha ha, so it is Jinner. I was wondering why this brat ran so fast to the city gate. Seems like it was to welcome honored guests. So it was all a misunderstanding. Come, follow me to our home. You've come a long way to Orchid City. It must have been tiring. As your host, I'll do my best to make you comfortable. The man overlooked Chi Tianlei's situation and simply shouldered the unconscious fellow as he took the lead. The way he switched tunes real quick and how he took sideways glances on and off at Zhuo Fan, the later felt it as a warning. What was all that about being looked down on by Chi clan? You were clearly trying to fool me. Zhuo Fan smirked. This uncle of yours cares for you even more than Chi Tianlei, ignoring even his scared silly son. Why would he? He is Chi Ganglai, the Chi clan head, and not once did he look kindly on us. Song Yu said confused, but today he's like a different person. Chi Tianlei is his only son, the apple of his eye. Something odd is going on for him to ignore his son's plight. Yeah, baffling. Zhuo Fan scoffed. Song Qian watched Chi Ganglai leave, then turned to the other two. What's so strange? He must be in a good mood today, so don't make assumptions. At least he didn't pursue it, or we would have been worse off. Just him. Zhuo Fan sneered. What could a peak bone-tempering cultivator amount to when not even a profound heaven expert was a match for Zhuo Fan? As his strength grew exponentially, he felt the return of his confidence as the demonic emperor. But anyway, the Song siblings were clueless to his strength. Song Qian walked to him with quick steps, then rolled her eyes. I know you're great, but that's within the bone-tempering stage. Could you handle a profound heaven expert? If you get on their bad side, not even we can help you. Zhuo Fan scoffed. Song Qian shook her head, but her eyes never left Zhuo Fan. His haughty and condescending attitude stirred her maiden heart. In fact, she felt oddly safe next to him, something she never felt with anyone before. The Chi clan welcomed the trio in their residence, and before they could leave to purchase any ingredients, the Chi clan head's message came that he wanted to reminisce with the siblings. Without a choice, Song Qian and Song Yu went to see Chi Ganglai while Zhuo Fan was left alone in the guest house. Now I can finally get some cultivation done in peace and quiet. 6 hours later, the door creaked open. Zhuo Fan, sitting on his bed, saw the Song siblings tiptoeing inside. Did you finish your talk with Chi Ganglai? Song Qian and Song Yu jumped in fright, then nodded woodenly, their eyes full of fear. What's up? Was that old coot hard on you? Zhuo Fan asked with suspicion. They both denied. The more Zhuo Fan looked at them, the more he felt his suspicion grow. Song Qian laughed dryly. Judash, brother Luo, Chi clan head is holding a feast in our welcome. Come join us. Zhuo Fan smiled. Since it is for you too, I won't go as I don't know him. You can't? Song Yu exclaimed, but tried to save the situation and dispel Zhuo Fan's doubts with a forced laughter. Brother Luo, this is the Chi clan's residence. The clan head even threw a welcoming feast for us. It would be crass of us if we are not present. Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow. Do I have to? Yes. They both nodded. Zhuo Fan stood up with a sneer and said, lead the way. We must join the festivities if he went so far as to invite us, even if it ends up a murder fest. His words had the two siblings shivering and looking guilty. Arriving at the hall, they saw Chi Ganglai seated on the main seat with a smile while 9 other bone-tempering elders flanked his sides at a round table. Looking closely, the table had 3 lone empty seats in the furthest corner of the hall, with walls on either side of them. Zhuo Fan secretly mocked them. It's ridiculously obvious that they want to attack me. The fact my seat is in the worst possible position proves it. Can't you be any more obvious? He let out a faint smile and didn't let it get to him. Even if they attack together, their end is still the same. Zhuo Fan and the siblings arrived at their seats with a fake smile. Jinner Xiaoyu, I am most pleased with your visit to our city. Uncle shall toast to you for your success in the Drifting Flowers City and joining the Drifting Flowers edifice. Chi Ganglai laughed as he drank. The others followed suit and the Song siblings were no exception. Yet Zhuo Fan only brought the cup to his nose and then sported a wide and ineffable grin before placing it on the table. Chi Ganglai frowned a bit as the atmosphere grew tense. Ha ha ha, little brother is called Luo Fan, right? Jinner told me about you, how you looked after them on your journey. I shall toast in gratitude. Chi Ganglai drank another cup, yet Zhuo Fan was as still as a rock. This time, the people around the table eyed Zhuo Fan viciously. Chi Ganglai gave them looks to come down and said, Brother Luo, I am the Chi clan head and am offering you a toast. Aren't you going to reply in kind? As wine takes a heavy toll on one's body, I have learned to abstain from drinking. Zhuo Fan grinned, and I'd recommend Chi clan head do the same. Who knows what mistakes one can make in their drunk haze? You might earn the ire of someone you should not and end up destroying yourself and your clan. His knuckles white on the cup, Chi Ganglai felt the sweat trickling down his brow. The others were also growing anxious. Taking a moment to calm his nerves, Chi Ganglai continued with a fake smile. Little brother is wise beyond his age. I understand now how you could become a bone-tempering cultivator at such a young age. But a youth should be more impulsive and learn to live in the moment, enjoy the simple pleasures of life. Chi Ganglai laughed, hinting at the cup before Zhuo Fan. The latter shook his head. Life is enjoyable as long as you have it. I am young and don't plan on leaving this wonderful world just yet. Losing his patience, Chi Ganglai rose from his seat and shouted, What do you mean by this? Ha ha ha, cut the act. You know who I am, else you wouldn't have set up such an obvious trap. Zhuo Fan lifted his glass and tipped it. The wine touched the table and sizzled in white smoke before eating through it. 100 Bane pill, refined from a 4th-grade spiritual beast, the scarlet poison python's venom. With a mocking grin, he stared at Chi Ganglai, and most of all, these bone-tempering experts must be your elders. Even for a junior's welcoming feast, this is too much of an honor. Sigh clan head, it was really hard to fake overlooking it, you know? Ha ha ha, can you be any more obvious? Zhuo Fan's mockery had Chi Ganglai flush with anger and gasping in an attempt to calm himself down. Damn it. Since it fell through, then I'll cut to the chase. Chi Ganglai roared and his power froze the Song siblings in their seats. Zhuo Fan, you messed with Hell Valley and they issued the Hell Kill order on you, making you the #1 target of the Empire. Rather than let others have you, I'll take your head and claim the Hell Kill order's reward for myself. Elders, attack! At Chi Ganglai's order, the 9 elders pounced. The tremendous pressure had the Song siblings frozen in panic, unable to move an inch. Yet Zhuo Fan smiled as he flipped the table. Boom! Among the splinters, there was no shadow of Zhuo Fan around. The elders looked around in a daze. Hee, here I am. The ridicule came from behind. They didn't even have time to turn as an elder's skull blew up in a spray of blood and gore. Zhuo Fan dusted a piece off his hand as he jeered, the first. The elders were speechless from the show of strength Zhuo Fan displayed. He was in the same stage as them and was attacked from every direction, yet he still managed to pull off a kill. The rumors were true, you really are a monster. No wonder 7th elder died at your hands. Chi Ganglai's eyes shivered as he watched Zhuo Fan in fear. Zhuo Fan looked down on him with a smile, and you chose to attack anyway. Hell Valley can't hold me and you think you have what it takes. Hee, fortune favors the bold. The bigger the danger, the greater the reward. Chi Ganglai grinned as he charged with a crazed look. An image of a tiger appeared behind him as he charged. Mid-spirit ranked martial art, Tiger Fist. Roar! The tiger's image superimposed on Chi Ganglai's movements, but Zhuo Fan stood there with a sneer and punched out. Bam! The noise was jarring to the ears and the Song siblings were forced to curl up on the ground while hugging their heads. The tiger pushed Zhuo Fan 10 meters back, his legs leaving 2 trails in the floor while the tiger itself turned into golden motes of energy and died out. Then a blood-curdling scream resounded as Chi Ganglai's hand was split open. Clan head! The elders cried out in panic, yet the man only had eyes for Zhuo Fan, watching him in fear. God damn it, what kind of freak is he? How is he so damn hard? From their exchange, he knew he had the upper hand in terms of yuan qi, but Zhuo Fan's body was as hard as a rock as if it was freaking refined to be a spiritual weapon. What the hell are you? Chi Ganglai panted, you're no human. Smirking, Zhuo Fan's eyes gleamed with savagery, or regardless, it doesn't concern you. He then took a step forward, mystifying phantom step. He appeared before 3 elders and struck before they could react, burying his fist into their chests. The elders were still baffled as to what happened to their clan head's hand, but now they finally figured out this little devil was inhuman. Where could one find a man who could casually punch through 3 bone-tempering experts? The Song siblings were dumbstruck. Although they had some semblance of knowledge about Zhuo Fan's abilities, this went beyond their wildest imaginations. Zhuo Fan's power allowed him to be in control despite surrounded by experts, even squashing them like bugs. This was absolute power. Everyone present there looked at him with grave faces and terrified minds. Zhuo Fan, I was rash and overconfident in provoking you. Please, on account of Qianer and Xiaoyu, let us go and we will never cross paths again. Chi Ganglai knew the matter was only going to get worse and capitulated. However, Zhuo Fan wasn't someone who was soft when it came to punishing his enemies. He mocked, Chi clan head, I warned you to think twice about the consequences. And as for those 2? Zhuo Fan turned to the siblings, since when do traitors have any value? Chi Ganglai, are you looking down on me, or do you really expect too much from them? Song Qian and Song Yu felt deep regret. Luo, no, brother Zhua, we were forced to do it, please. Talk is cheap. Zhua Fan cut off Song Qian with his frosty tone. Actions are louder than words. Leave. And make sure we never meet again. Pursing her lips, Song Qian hung her head in regret while Song Yu sighed. Chi Ganglai saw Zhua Fan unwilling to compromise and blew a gasket. Zhua Fan, you will regret pitting yourself against my entire clan. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Can you take me down with you? Zhua Fan sneered. Chi Ganglia's face alternated between green and white, spatting through gritted teeth. Elders, all together. Yes, clan head. The remaining 5 elders jumped at Zhua Fan in unison, each of them resigned to death, executing their best moves. Zhua Fan knew they wanted to exchange their lives for his, but it mattered little. With a crackle, lightning flashed and his wings unfolded, flying around them. The 5 elders' moves hadn't even finished before they were split in 2, splattering the ground in blood and painting it red. Humph, barely worth the effort. Zhua Fan scoffed. Whoosh! Suddenly, a faint streak of blue rushed at Zhua Fan. Zhua Fan discovered Chi Ganglai sporting a sly grin. He used the elders as bait in releasing his true killing move, this dagger. You think you can beat me with this lousy trick? Zhua Fan sneered as he flew. Yet just then, a tender cry followed by a graceful figure came right before him. Watch out! Following a grunt, blood splattered, and Song Qian struggled to stand with black blood flowing from her mouth. Sister! With a wail, Song Yu rushed to catch her weak body. But Song Qian only had eyes for Zhua Fan, working hard to muster the strength to look at him. Forgive us, we didn't want it to come to this. Zhua Fan just sighed. Damn bitch, you ruined everything. I will kill you. Having his plan thwarted, Chi Ganglai flew into a rage and charged at the siblings. Snorting, Zhua Fan's wings flickered like swords. In a blink, Chi Ganglai stopped and fell to pieces with blood and viscera oozing. The Chi clan experts were vanquished. Zhua Fan then started inspecting Song Qian's wound. He noticed the dagger stuck in her shoulder and black blood seeping around its blade. He pulled it out and frowned. It's poisonous. Poison? Song Yu grew frantic and was close to tears. It must be one of the Chi clan's poisons. I will check their stores to see if they have an antidote. Sister, you must hold on. Song Yu wiped his tears and left. Wait. Zhua Fan jumped to his feet to stop Song Yu, but a frail hand caught his arm. He looked down at the pale Song Qian. Don't go. Song Qian's faint voice came. Zhua Fan gave a curt nod and steadied her by placing his palm on her back. Yeah, I only wanted to tell your brother this poison can be removed with yuan qi. Ha ha ha, he is always impulsive, unlike you. A faint smile adorned Song Qian's wan face and her delicate hand touched his. A pair of glistening eyes locked his own in an unshakable gaze that unnerved Zhua Fan. He felt as if they were back in the carriage. Worried about her state, he rushed to clear the poison. However, when his yuan qi entered her body, he found a problem. Why can't I find its source? This hardly ever happened. Based on his experience, there were 2 reasons. 1, because she never got poisoned, and 2, this type of poison couldn't be sensed with yuan qi. He found Song Qian's health deteriorating and came to a decision. Since yuan qi was useless, the second method implied drawing out the poison. But the wound's close position to her chest made it hard not to encroach upon her dignity. This will make it terribly awkward. What is it? Song Qian found Zhua Fan making an odd expression and asked. After muttering to himself, Zhua Fan spoke, that is, the only choice is to suck the poison out. Song Qian understood from his hesitation and her pale face was tinted pink. Then, sorry to trouble you, Song Qian's soft voice rang hard in his ears. The delicate and charming look would stir anyone's sympathy. Licking his dry lips, Zhua Fan ripped her clothes around the wound and exposed her fair skin. Song Qian shuddered as she closed her eyes with a red face. She knew what was about to happen, but when her clothes tore, she still gasped. Then, 1,000 pardons, Miss Song. Zhua Fan forced a smile in this awkward situation and neared his mouth to the wound, beginning to draw the poison out. But the longer he sucked, the more doubt sprouted. Why is the blood spicy? Why is Song Qian's blood normal, as if she wasn't poisoned to begin with? However, he pushed aside all conflicting thoughts and kept sucking to make sure she was out of harm's way. That is, until her blood turned scarlet again. I've taken most of the poison out, so there should be no problems. Zhua Fan let out a breath he was holding, but his eyes were clouded with more doubts. Then a smoking hot body hugged him and 2 tender arms curled around his neck. Zhua Fan was startled. Miss Song, what? Song Qian's hot breath entered his ear. Zhuo Fan, do you know? I liked you the moment I saw you. Zhuo Fan's eyes darted left and right, his tone wavering. Miss Song, your brother will be here soon. Never mind him. Song Qian's tongue left a trail on his cheek, making him feel as if a bolt of lightning had struck him. I only want you next to me. She didn't give him the chance to put up any resistance as she drew his head into a hot kiss. As his eyes grew lost, his heart was thoroughly shocked and his mind blanked. He reached the demonic emperor level because he always had cultivation in his mind, taking into account every step, every detail. So much so, he had overlooked the matters between a man and a woman. When Luo Yunchang and Lei Yuding stole a peck, it floored him, but this time, his mind was literally blown. Damn it, I was born twice and a virgin each time, but never did I come upon such a battle. Then, Zhuo Fan's eyes flared with irritation and pushed Song Qian away. Oh, what did you just give me? In his daze, he could still feel something entering his mouth and dissolving. Song Qian cried as she hit the ground, then a burst of laughter echoed around him. Ha ha ha, something marvelous, I'm sure. A black figure appeared and threw a large transparent bell over Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan exclaimed, 4th grade defensive spiritual weapon? Ah, Inda. This is the Qi clan's treasure, Violet Canopy. The black figure landed in front of Zhuo Fan and revealed itself to be an aged man. His eyes were filled with glee and rancor. You're the Qi clan's profound heaven expert? Zhuo Fan tried to get up but his head swooned, falling back to his knees. What's going on? Am I poisoned? Ha ha ha, that's a powerful toxin of the Qi clan, Soul Devourer. The old man mocked. It targets one soul and no one beneath Radiant stage can last more than 2 hours. Even they will die 3 days later without our antidote. Zhuo Fan frowned. The old man saw through him and cackled. You must be wondering how you got poisoned? Hee, let me tell you. The dagger wasn't poisoned, it was only dabbed in something to change the blood's color. The true poison was on Qian'er's shoulder, which you were more than happy to suck out. 2 more figures walked next to Song Qian at this moment, Song Yu and Qi Tianlei. Song Qian and Song Yu appeared to be eaten by guilt, avoiding Zhuo Fan's eyes. But Qi Tianlei stared right at him through the cover he was in with deep-seated hatred. You killed my dad. I will tie you to horses and have you ripped to pieces. Humph, I've seen my fair share of dishonorable old goats, but your Qi clan's elders take the cake. Zhuo Fan jeered. If I'm not mistaken, Qi Ganglai was the bait from the start, expecting me to kill him. In other words, you've all given up on him from the get-go. Having been exposed, Qi Tianlei was left speechless. But no matter how true it was, none of them would dare speak of it. Else he would earn the world's unanimous hatred and reviled gazes when word got out that a rotten son like him threw his father to the wolves. Also he could snatch a bounty. Humph, who are you trying to deceive? Zhuo Fan sneered at the old man. You sure know how to play a big hand, using the clan head and 9 elders as small fries. The old man disregarded Zhuo Fan's jab with a laugh and, I gave up my son, but I still have a grandson. It's all worth it for your head. Once we become Hell Valley's #1 vassal clan, we can have as many elders as we want. We will be stronger than ever. This little loss is nothing compared to the future glory of the Qi clan. Ha ha ha, that's how the ambitious act, shameless. Zhuo Fan praised, then derided them. But in the end, that old mind of yours is too narrow. You're paying such a heavy price only to become Hell Valley's #1 lapdog. You're bound to fail. If it were me, I would become the ruler of the continent with what you paid. Is this kid nuts? Can you even grasp how large the Tianyu Empire is, not to mention the continent? Just another loud mouth. The old man sneered. Now I know why you are so reviled, so set against Hell Valley. You're clearly insane. How can one common man possibly rule the entire continent? Humph, what does an ant know of the humans stepping on it? Zhuo Fan shook his head and asked, Oh, I forgot to mention, but I do dab in alchemy myself, you know? If her shoulder had poison on it, I would have known. Hehehe, I heard you killed Yugiki. This speaks volumes of your own twisted mind for having fought him. You think we'd use common poison when dealing with you. The old man took on a haughty tone. Soul Devourer is a combination of 2 different medicines. One was on Qian'er's shoulder and the other was the one you just swallowed. Was that what she made me take when she kissed me? Precisely. That was also for her own safety. If she hadn't fed it to you, she'd be the one dying. The old man let out a manic grin. To end you, I have scoured every bit of rumor and information about you, most of all about you sticking your head out for a little girl and offending Hell Valley. I know you're just one big softy inside. How ironic this came to be your downfall. Zhuo Fan mocked himself, who knew my fight with Yugiki was twisted into a hero saving a damsel. Then again, it is true. Also, saving a woman was the first thing I did after I rebirthed, wasn't it? Shaking his head, Zhuo Fan was this close to labeling himself a lecher. Hey, old goat, you sure employ vicious schemes, no less than Yugiki. Why, thank you. The old man stuck his chin out in pride. Yugiki only had the luck of the draw in being born in one of the 7 houses. If I had such privilege, my achievements would have dwarfed his. Do you know what I'm called? Steel Fettering River Chi Wailin, hee hee hee. Zhuo Fan had a grin himself. Steel Fettering River, neither good nor bad. The one in your clutches can't beg for life, nor can die. Precisely. Chi Wailin laughed, speaking as if to a close friend. You see, this is the first time you've heard of me and you can already appreciate my title. No wonder you could beat Yugiki. I would hate to remove that pretty head of yours, but too bad it's worth so much. Think you have what it takes to reap my head? Zhuo Fan mocked as his glabella lit up. Whoosh! An azure flame revealed itself along with a black smoke drifting out from it. The soul devourer was reduced to nothing before the power of this flame. Zhuo Fan took his time getting back to his feet and surveyed the people with killing intent. I told Yugiki something when I killed him, and now I shall repeat it for you. In front of true power, all schemes and ploys are moot. How could this be? Zhuo Fan's casual rise to his feet left everyone astonished, especially Chi Wailin. The soul devourer passed on through generations, a radiant stage expert killer, was dealt with just like that? What is that? Chi Wailin now noticed the azure flame on Zhuo Fan's forehead and exclaimed, did that thing remove the poison? The flame vanished the next second and Zhuo Fan had a wicked grin plastered on his face. Ah ha ha ha, the dead needn't worry too much. All of them were startled and took a step back. They saw the terror Zhuo Fan could unleash and his words only worked to unnerve them. But Chi Wailin gathered his courage when he noticed the violet canopy was still around Zhuo Fan. There's no need to worry, the brat is trapped under my spiritual weapon. There's no way. Roar! He didn't get the chance to finish his flimsy reasoning as a dragon roar echoed and a black light ran through his chest. With a jerk, Chi Wailin was left bleeding from his mouth. What just happened? As Chi Wailin wiped the blood away, he felt his body growing colder. His life was seeping away yet he couldn't understand why. He looked towards Chi Tianlei and the Song siblings only to find them staring at his chest. Chi Wailin looked down and discovered a fist-sized black hole spurting blood. He noticed an identical hole at his back too. It was as if something had burrowed through his chest. How did this happen? Chi Wailin couldn't comprehend what had happened even on the brink of his death. But when he looked at Zhuo Fan, his eyes narrowed. Zhuo Fan was gasping beneath the violet canopy after using close to half of his energy, but his hand was still in the form of a dragon claw. It just so happened that there was also a fist-sized hole in the canopy, aligned with his chest. Only now did the horror and dread of what transpired got to Chi Wailin. Monster! To force your way through a 4th-grade spiritual weapon, with only your body strength. Bam! His body hit the ground hard, his eyes were still shocked and incredulous of what came to pass. Zhuo Fan killed him in an instant despite being trapped. Not even a profound heaven expert could display such power if they were in Zhuo Fan's place. He is an abomination that will end my clan. Along with the fear Chi Wailin felt, there was now endless regret. Ah! Song Qian cried in terror while fleeing. Chi Tianlei and Song Yu's knees softened, shivering all the while they ran alongside her. Gasping, Zhuo Fan showed a vile smile of delight. Wraith-style second move, Ghostly Dragon Claw. Among the profound ranked martial arts, Zhuo Fan could only employ one move fully, yet it still sapped half of his strength. But the power makes it all worth it. The Wraith style was suited to a body cultivator. The stronger the body, the more outrageous the blows. However, the end result exceeded Zhuo Fan's imagination. It was a perfect match for his 5th-grade demonic treasure body. At first, he only thought of giving it a shot in breaking the 4th-grade spiritual weapon. Yet the result showed that the spiritual weapon was like paper in front of the ghostly dragon claw. I was right in my course of action. Since my freaky body refining worked, a stronger martial art was only fitting. Zhuo Fan revealed a radiant smile. Then his wings whipped out with a flurry. Rumble! The broken violet canopy turned to pieces and Zhuo Fan eyed the trio in the distance with coldness. His wings flapped and he was on them in seconds. He then blocked their retreat and the trio stumbled to the ground with pale faces. Go ahead, run. Zhuo Fan's vile smile was a prelude to the horror that followed. Let's see who's faster, me or you? Why, young Master Chua, the Chi clan was blind not to see your greatness. You killed my grandfather and my dad, please let me go. Chi Tianlei was so scared by Zhuo Fan's twisted grin that he was pounding the ground with his forehead, all the while shedding bitter tears. Zhuo Fan gave a faint smile and hoisted him by his neck. Now that you said it, it's best I kill you too, to accompany them in death. Black tendrils left Zhuo Fan and burrowed into Chi Tianlei. In but seconds, Chi Tianlei was turned to dust, scattered to the four winds. The Song siblings were close to having a mental breakdown witnessing such a gruesome murder. Zhuo Fan smiled. Is there anything you want to say at this point? In the end, it was Song Qian who spoke through trembling lips. Brother Zhuo, we were compelled. The Song clan is a minor clan and can't offend even the Qi clan. Let my life douse your anger, but please leave the Song clan our last heir. Sister. Song Yu's tears flowed unabated as Song Qian looked at him with tenderness. Zhuo Fan shook his head with a mutter. You are just like them, with your clan in dire straits, and compelled to lower yourself. He then turned around and looked at the wide sky with a sigh. I wonder what they are doing right now? Wonder if my actions brought them more hardships. Are you speaking of Luo clan? Song Qian ventured. Zhuo Fan smiled. Indeed. You are so much alike that it makes it hard for me to do this. The siblings broke out a faint smile, but then came Zhuo Fan's cold tone. Such a pity. There is one part you are different in. Whoosh! Zhuo Fan's wings whipped and the siblings' heads traveled through the air before plopping on the ground. What made it even eerier was the faint smile of forlorn hope. You two are far shrewder. Zhuo Fan jeered. You two knew from where I come from and enacted such a heartfelt play thinking I was a moron. This is where you diverge from their demeanor, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan left, uncaring of the corpses or the consequences, not even of the wails coming from the Qi clan's home. A month later, 3 figures landed in the Qi clan's manor. They were dressed in gray and their leader was Hell Valley's second elder. He watched everything with a calculative eye and muttered, how come the Qi clan is so quiet? Humph, they have the nerve to say that they have clues about the runt and when we come, there's no one here at all. Another elder curse, what is a mere second-rate clan trying to pull? Second elder huffed and then shouted, no, there's something wrong here. Third elder, fourth elder, check the surroundings. Moments after they left, a cry came from the back of Qi clan's manor. Second elder, third elder, come and take a look at this. Both of them appeared in a blink, but the sight left them speechless. What used to be a garden was now a cemetery housing 1,000 dead bodies in a towering pile. The rot assaulted their noses and painted an even gruesome picture with the swarm of flies around it. That punk is savage. He killed the whole Qi clan. Second elder spat. The other two were overwhelmed by the image of a kid ripping apart fleeing people and came to realize they were a far cry from his level when it came to viciousness. Such cold-blooded slaughter of an entire clan only came from offending the Tianyu Empire or the 7 houses. Second elder grew frantic. The elders, handle the corpses so that no one finds out about this. Why? Fool, if anyone comes to know of the dread this run can instill, who else will muster the nerve to search for him? Second elder cursed, a humph, Qi Weilin liked to flaunt himself as an equal for our 7th elder. He must have planned on taking the kid down all by himself and earning the reward. Look at what greed does to people. Overconfident fool. Scoffing, second elder left as a towering flame rose behind him. It swallowed the manor and the corpses, leaving only the ashes of the renowned Qi clan. An elder gazed upon the raging fire and asked, Second elder, what now? We separate. The look in second elder's eyes hardened. The 3 of us will go different ways. One of us is sure to be on the right track. What about the 4th direction? The elder frowned. If not for grand elder being in seclusion, the 4 of us would have been enough. Second elder shook his head. There's no need to concern ourselves with that direction. It leads to Drifting Flower City. If the brat dares to step foot in it, he'll have to face the 5th elder. Then he flew away. The other 2 elders also picked a direction and left. What was left behind was a desolate and eerie place, void of people. So came to pass the #1 clan in Orchid City, destroyed to the roots. The spring breeze rustles the shore's willow. I am riding in search of pills. One does not know the one he is facing. All because he can't gaze beyond his nose. This was the singing voice of a youth who was driving his cart slowly on a road. If the Qi clan's recently departed ghosts were here, they'd be shocked to the core. Wasn't this their carriage? Wasn't the youth Song Yu? Didn't he die? However, there was one thing out of place. This youth had a devious grin on his face, enough to scare the most wretched ghosts. His smile closely resembled that demon who annihilated their entire Qi clan. Oh! The youth reined in the horses as he gazed to the distance, at the 3 words emblazoned on the gate, Drifting Flower City. I'm here at last. I hope this place has life-saving herbs, or it would be a true waste of time coming here. The youth grinned as he snapped the reins. But a shout delayed him. Stop. Following the yell, 6 people appeared around him. The youth gave them a once-over and rose an eyebrow. A Hell Valley. Oh, quite perceptive. You recognize us. The leader scrutinized the youth in amazement. From the way you look, you seem like some clan's young master. State your name. The youth asked in puzzlement. Shouldn't Drifting Flowers City be managed by Drifting Flowers Edifice? Why? Cut the chat. A cursing voice cut him off. I hurry it up before I lose my patience. If this place didn't belong to Drifting Flowers Edifice, I would have killed you just from you being so slow on the uptake. The youth frowned, his eyes flashing with killing intent before suppressing it. I am Sung Yu and hail from Nitrain City Sung Clan. Father commanded me to participate in the 100 Pill meeting. This is my clan seal. He fished out an engraved jade from his bosom. The leader looked over it and nodded. Meanwhile, his men rummaged through the carriage and they too nodded. Fine, you can go. But if you catch sight of this man, notify us at once. The man gave the youth a sidelong glance as he handed over a roll of paper before leaving. Once the men were out of sight, the youth regarded the unfolded paper with a sneer. It was the Hellkill order on Zhuo Fan along with an impeccable drawing of his features. On the bottom of the paper, rewards were stated. Anyone who provided clues to his whereabouts could become a vassal to Hell Valley, and whoever brings his head could become the foremost among all of Hell Valley's vassal clans. Humph, they really can't see beyond their nose. How can you find someone you don't even recognize? He mocked as he rolled the kill order into a ball before throwing it away. Indeed, this youth was Zhuo Fan. After damning the Qi clan, he was aware that everyone in the Tianyu Empire would be privy to his face. So he refined a little pill that turned him into Songyu and resumed his way to Drifting Flower City. This would work wonders in searching for treasures unperturbed by narrow-minded fools. And wearing the Song Clan Master's identity would also leave Hell Valley grasping straws. As he entered the city, he realized how grand it was, a perfect match for the headquarters of Drifting Flowers Edifice. It was a city, true, but it was 10 times more expansive than an average city. By contrast, Wengay City and Blue Expanse City looked like towns. Especially when it came to the people on the streets. There were many young masters of clans wondering about, but the difference was they were all from first-rate clans. These young heirs were more important than the clan head or elders of a third-rate clan. This made the third-rate young master, whom Zhuo Fan was impersonating, look like a beggar. With a bitter smile, he snapped the reins for picking up speed. He'd best find lodgings fast or he'd feel dwarfed in this crowd. He assumed that posing as Songyu was a walk in the park. But now that he got here, he knew that third-rate clansmen were a rarity as most of the people in the city were from the second and first-rate clans. Instead of blending in, I became the odd one out. Zhuo Fan's carriage creaked down the street before finally stopping in front of a tavern. Owner, do you have a room available? Zhuo Fan asked the man at the counter. The man looked up, then returned to counting his profit. Hey, now you really aren't looking beyond your nose. Zhuo Fan was getting irate fast and slapped the counter as he roared, do you have a room or not? You think I don't have the coin for it? Looking up at him again, the owner said in a laid-back manner, show me the clan seal. Zhuo Fan was a bit shocked at this. Even a shop owner asked for it now. But he still chose to take it out. The owner got one look at it and jeered, yeah, just the Song clan, a third-rate clan. And what's wrong with that? Didn't you open this establishment to make money? Are mine unwelcome here? Shaking his head, the owner patted Zhuo Fan's shoulder, and impersonating a wise sage, he counseled, young man, there's a rundown hut 3 miles out. It won't charge you a dime. Zhuo Fan blinked in shock, then rage burned in his eyes. Owner, even I know those are the slums. Even if I come from a third-rate clan, I am still a guest in your tavern and should be treated as one. The owner sighed but didn't pay him any more heed. Then sudden laughter drifted over. Ah, Song Yugoslavia, you're weak. You came for the 100 Pill meeting without even knowing the rules of Drifting Flower City. Zhuo Fan's heart seized. How come the first place I visit, someone ends up recognizing Song Yu? He saw a flashy young master coming down the stairs with 4 elders in tow, bone tempering experts. That person himself was at the 5th layer of bone tempering stage. On his left was a cute young lady, not a beauty but one worthy of appreciation. But the lady only looked at Zhuo Fan with despise. Zhuo Fan narrowed his eyes as his mind was going a mile a minute in his curses. Damn brat, you got what you deserved. I spent half a month traveling with you yet you didn't say anything about the ones you know here. I should have seen this coming. In any case, the young master saw Zhuofan keyed up and laughed. Brat, are you still a scaredy cat? No wonder my little sister doesn't like you. As if on cue, the lady snorted. Zhuofan licked his dry lips in embarrassment and said, Yeah, brother is quite right. Since you do not welcome me, I shall leave. Hey, wait. Just as Zhuofan was planning on leaving, the young master called out to him, his face tinted in suspicion. Strange, something is off with you today. What brother this and that, why are you calling me in such an odd way? Zhuofan secretly cursed his bad luck, thinking he was exposed. If that happened, Hell Valley would come storming and his plans would go up in smoke. All the more reason he was itching to snap this punk snack. Oh right. The young master interrupted his inner cursing by coming up with a seamless explanation. Don't tell me you're still mad that Wanner turned down your marriage proposal and ruined your self-esteem. Are you so petty to be still brooding over it after all this time? When he heard this, Zhuofan's eyes sparkled and his heart leaped. It was as if he was grasping straws while drowning and finally found purchase. He instantly changed his demeanor and faked anger. Humph, don't mention it then. We are done here. I don't want to see you guys ever again. Sai, this is where you are wrong. Why are you dragging me into yours and my sister's problems? The young master shook his head, then his eyes shifted as he said in an understanding tone, Don't forget, we are close as brothers, lifting our spears together and together, hee. This, Zhuofan understood perfectly. The way he looks, he must be a second-rate clan's young master. How did Song Yu get to befriend him? And by the looks of things, they're buddy-buddy too? Then again, this might not be so bad. Zhuofan's lascivious smile mimicked his, hee, a real man doesn't boast about his past glory. You don't need to say it. What? I last longer than you by far. I can take 8 rounds while you only 5. The young master then made an obvious gesture towards Zhuofan. If not for his sister's presence, he'd be going in much more gory details. Sigh, those 3 days and 3 nights were a bliss. Zhuofan saw his intoxicated face and adjusted accordingly. Though the lady there stated her disagreement with her disgusted reply, gross. She then proceeded to walk out of the tavern and let the 2 perverts to their vile imagination.